You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the longest-running Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
We're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking to my ball. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins #1.
Hello, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast. On this Monday, February the 2nd, I am your host, Mike Oliva, flying solo today, as we are less than a week away now from the Super Bowl. It'll be here. Not the most exciting game and matchup in the world, but it is the Super Bowl nonetheless. So, yeah, I'll probably do a show later this week where I talk about the game a little bit. Not today, though, because we got a lot of news in the world of the Miami Dolphins, and we're going to break it down all on today's show. Before we get to that, as always, let's get the business aspect of the way out of this first. This show today is brought to you by Caneswear. Everyone go to caneswear.com for the best and most affordable Miami Dolphins apparel on the internet. If you need a Miami Dolphins hat, hoodie, jersey, shirt, polo, anything for the home, anything for the office, anything for the car, Caneswear.com, Caneswear.com, Caneswear.com. They got stuff for the Miami Hurricanes, the Miami Marlins, your Florida Panthers, the Heat. Caneswear.com. If you're in South Florida, stop by their shop at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. Caneswear has it all. Also, a quick shout out to everyone who's watching us live at the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, please be sure you are part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page run by the great Carlos Hernandez. And I'm on YouTube right now. If you're watching us live, first off, make sure you smash that like button. Just smash that like button right now. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And also, super chats are open. Send in a super chat, and I will read it on the air at some point between now and the end of the show. All right, let's get into some of this news here we got in the world of the Miami Dolphins. Jeff Hafley is putting on the finishing touches of his coaching staff, and he made some more moves today. He kept a few guys from the last staff, and he's also hired someone from the outside as well. Let's start with that hire. The Miami Dolphins and Jeff Hafley hired Brock Olivo, not Oliva like me, Olivo, to be their assistant special teams coordinator. Now, I thought the Eubanks guy from Georgia Tech might have had that role. Apparently not. So Brock Olivo will be the assistant special teams coordinator for the Dolphins. He's a former running back, undrafted, out of Missouri, who played with the Lions amongst some other teams, but he was with the Lions for 4 years. And for those 4 years, he was a leader of their special teams group. In 2 of the 4 years, he was the he was the team leading tackler on special teams. After he was all done playing, he began to coach, and he's actually spent some time in the Italian football league. That's right, Olivo. Hey, how you doing? How's the family? Olivo spent some time in the Italian football league. First as an offensive coordinator, as a special teams coordinator, then as a head coach. Then he came back to the U.S., was the assistant special teams coordinator for the Chiefs and the Bears. And when he was with the Bears, he worked with who? Chris Tabor, the new Miami Dolphins special teams coordinator. So that's probably how this hire happened. Chris Tabor probably had a voice like, hey, I worked with this guy for the Bears. He was pretty good. And also, Olivo was the special teams coordinator for the Denver Broncos in 2017. So he's had the main role for a short amount of time. He's also been an assistant special teams coordinator on the NFL level. He has a theory in coaching, which I think is kind of cute and funny. It's called the KILL method, Kill. Keep it likable and learnable. So that's Brock Olivo, the new assistant special teams coordinator in Miami. And once I get through the rest of this, I'm going to go through the full Miami Dolphins staff, and we'll see what's left. Now, some coaches, 2 coaches were retained, and there's also one who's not going to be retained. And it was reported, I believe, by Barry Jackson, the Miami Herald, that tight ends coach John Embry will not be back. John Embry, there was been some rumbling, some rumor, some innuendo that he might be retained as the tight ends coach because he spent some time in San Francisco with Jeff Hafley. They were both on the same staff for a couple of years together, but it's not going to be the case. John Embry will not be retained. So one of the few open spots on the staff is tight ends coach. So we'll see what Jeff Hafley does there. But 2 other coaches are staying. Austin Clark, the Miami Dolphins defensive line coach, he is being retained. He's been with the Dolphins since 2020, starting as an outside linebackers coach. Then he, in 2021, he got moved to the defensive line as their coach there. And, he was here for Flores. He was here for McDaniel. Now he's going to be here for Hafley. Austin Clark, this is a great move to keep him. He is viewed league-wide as one of the up-and-coming assistant coaches in this league. He's done great work with Miami's line up front. I know last year was tough because there was a lot of rookies thrown at him, so you got to give him some grace on last year. But in general, Austin Clark is viewed as an up-and-coming assistant coach. So for Jeff Hafley to retain him is awesome, and I'm very happy with this news because I think Clark is a very good coach, and happy to see he'll be staying around in the same role he's had. And the other one is Joe Barry, the Miami Dolphins linebackers coach and run game coordinator. He was signed to a multi-year deal, it was reported. I think Ian Rappaport had that one this morning. Multi-year deal, so he ain't going nowhere. And what makes this one ironic more than anything is Joe Barry used to be the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Joe Barry was fired in January 2024. The Packers then hired Jeff Hafley to replace him. So Jeff Hafley, he is now, and Joe Barry, the last 2 defensive coordinators for the Packers, are now both in Miami. Hafley is the head coach, and he's keeping the guy he replaced in Green Bay. Barry's 55 years old. He's been a defensive coordinator in the past for Washington, the Lions, and Green Bay, obviously. He's also previously been a linebackers coach for about 5 or 6 other teams. The past 2 seasons for the Dolphins, Barry has been the linebackers coach and run game coordinator with Anthony Weaver, obviously, as the coordinator. And Weaver today got hired by the Ravens as their new defensive coordinator. And Joe Barry's done a good job. Again, this past year, a lot of rookies, a lot of churn of the roster. Can't hold that against Joe Barry too much. 2024, when Miami was more stable up front, very good work there. So Joe Barry staying. Austin Clark staying. John Embry showing the door. And Brock Olivo, the new assistant special teams coordinator. So here's the staff as of now. We got most of it, I think. We ain't got all of it, but I think we got most of it. Head coach Jeff Hafley, special teams coordinator Chris Tabor, assistant special teams coordinator Brock Olivo, offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick, quarterbacks coach Nate Hackett, running backs coach Liddell Betts, wide receiver coach Tyke Tolbert. Then we go to offensive line coach Zach Yenzer, assistant offensive line coach Matt Applebaum, defensive coordinator Sean Dugan, defensive line coach Austin Clark, assistant defensive line coach Chuka Naduli. Now this is interesting because he had that same role with the Chargers, and some thought, well, he was hired here maybe to be the line coach, but if they're keeping Austin Clark, I'm just gonna take a safe guess here that Chuka Naduli is the assistant defensive line coach. Linebackers coach, run game coordinator Joe Barry, which kind of leads to this too. Assistant linebacker coach Al Washington. There was some thought when Miami signed Al Washington away from Notre Dame, he might be the linebackers coach. I'm going to take a safe guess here that he's now the assistant linebackers coach with Joe Barry staying. Defensive quality control assistant Wendell Davis. Cornerbacks coach Jamil Adai. I hope I said that right. Secondary coach Ryan Downard. And I'm not sure where they're going to have Darius Eubanks now, coach. So waiting to hear on that. So it looks like right now, Miami needs a tight end coach. And I'm sure we'll probably hear about that in the next 24 to 48 hours. And they might need a safeties coach. I don't know how they're going to split up the roles because Jamil Adai is the cornerbacks coach and Ryan he was named the secondary coach. I don't know if that's overall secondary or just safeties or safeties and secondary. I don't know. But yeah, so we'll see. But they need a tight end coach for sure, and I'm sure we'll hear about maybe an assistant wide receiver coach or an assistant running back coach. Some of the smaller hires, but tight end coach is probably the next big domino to fall, as well as maybe one more coach in the secondary of like the main roles before we get to like assistant quarterback coach and some smaller roles like that. So that's where the coaching staff is. Hafley's moved swift on this. I did a whole show yesterday. if you're nitpicking about this, not being happy or complaining about this or complaining about that, I think it's really just a waste of energy and time. I think this staff is fine. There's a lot of experience here. There's also a lot of youth here. It's a healthy mix. It's a healthy mix. We got, look who's in the chat. Josh Moser asking, how many coaches have a Green Bay tie? Great question, Josh. Well, let's go through it. Jeff Hafley, Green Bay. Nate Hackett spent 1 year in Green Bay last year. You have Sean Dugan, spent time in Green Bay the past few years with Hafley. You have Joe Barry, I guess, even though it's not the same time as Hafley, he spent time in Green Bay. You have Wendell Davis, spent time in Green Bay. And you got Ryan Downard, spent time in Green Bay. So what's the number? 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 5, 6 if you count Hafley. So, yeah, it's 6 total, which, again, I did a show on this yesterday, and I know some fans are like, we're hiring too many Packers coaches. Nope, we're not hiring enough, because that's going to get to my next topic here in a minute. We're not hiring enough Packers coaches. We can't hire enough people away from Green Bay, because stay tuned in about, I don't know, less than a minute. I got to read a promo, and I'm going to tell you why. As always, everyone, be sure to check out finheaven.com. Everyone go to finheaven.com, largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. Also, wherever you're listening to this podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Podbean, Podchaser, iHeartRadio. Subscribe to the channel. On YouTube, again, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the alert bell, and super chats are open. Send me in a super chat. I will read it on the air. Here's why we can't hire enough people from Green Bay in the front office or on the coaching staff. This has been floating around on social media, and it's kind of really eye-opening. So I wanted to talk about it. Since 2022, which NFL team uses players they find in the draft? So they came up with a little formula of each team since 2022, all the players they drafted, most games started by a team, and all the players drafted by a team. They came up with a formula. Miami Dolphins, Chris Greer, dead last with a score of 122. Take a guess who came in first. Wait for it. The Green Bay Packers with a score of 563. So any of you people complaining about too many Packers people here, you're out of your goddamn mind. They can't hire enough. Like I said on the show last night, thank you, may I have another. Keep hiring the Packers people, front office people, scouts, assistant to the assistant. I don't care. Bring as many Packers for you as you can. Here's another stat for you since 2022. Which team has drafted the most Pro Bowlers since 2022? The Miami Dolphins ranked 23rd. Guess where the Packers rank? Wait for it. Third. Look, I'm not here selling hopium. I don't know if Jeff Hafley is going to be a good coach. I don't know if John Eric Sullivan is going to be a very good coach. But for some of you fans out there who are nitpicking every little position coach hire and saying, no, this staff is worse than last year's. How? What did last year's staff do? They had 2 years in a row of a losing record. Didn't win nothing. And outside of like 2 guys, what players did they improve to where, like, that guy, he's been coached up? There's almost none. And you look at the Green Bay results. And I know John Eric Sullivan wasn't the GM there, but he was next to the GM there. And he watched a lot, and he had a say in a lot of those things. And Hafley was there too. And people can knock them. They won a lot of games in Green Bay. So, again, keep bringing in the Green Bay people. Because let's look at Chris Greer's drafts from 2022 to 2025. So any of you fans still out there who are like, we might have made a mistake moving on from Mike. We might have made a mistake. I don't know. I don't know about these new guys. There's a lot of Packers. Let's look at this. We're going to go in reverse because we get to 2022. You're going to want to jump off a bridge. 2025, Kenneth Grant, round 1, was an ordinary player. Nothing special. Not going to call anyone who was picked this past year someone who's not any good or call him like a bust because it's only 1 year. But for where he was picked in round 1, did not live up to the hype. He must be a lot better. That's Kenneth Grant. Jonas Avainea, let's just call it what it is. For most of the season, he stunk. I know he had a game or two where he was like, okay, but okay at best. He stunk for most of the year. Then I want you to think about this. Go back to last year this time. Leading into April's draft. Look at that Miami Dolphins roster. They had holes everywhere. Everywhere. They needed players badly. And Chris Greer, in his infinite wisdom, traded picks 48, 79, 98, 116, and 135. 1, 2, 3. He traded away 5 picks. I know some of those were packaged to move up to get Jonah. That was a bad trade. And I don't need to wait 3 years to call it a bad trade. It was a bad trade. And I know he traded away one of the picks to get an extra third this year, which is nice this year. But in the moment, last April, what the fuck was he thinking? Trading away 5 picks total in around 3 and 4 when that roster was void of talent. And it didn't work out for him because he ain't here now to enjoy the extra third round pick this year and some stuff like that. And then, he did some dumb things like look, every GM is going to have a miss. So I don't want to, say, well, he should have picked this guy in this round, this guy in that round. But you look at what Miami had at tight end, especially trading Jonah, which they did in the summer. And, then waiting on Waller, and he was in and out of the lineup all year. He played great when he played, but he was also hurt and in and out of the lineup all year. Like, Oronde Gadsden, and I'm not just saying it because his father played for the Dolphins. I'm saying it because he fell to like round 5, and we had like 3 picks in round 5, and we didn't use one on him when honestly we probably should have because we needed help at tight end. Like, just like passing on him because no one thought he would fall that far. This was kind of a red flag. Also last year, Ollie Gordon was okay at running back. I know he was like way better in training camp and stuff, but he did okay in short yardage type situations for a 6th round pick. So I'll give him credit for there. Quinn Ewers, look, I like Quinn Ewers, but some fans are putting they are already rewriting history from the last 3 games of the year. Quinn Ewers, the last 3 games of the year, week 18, he was horrible versus the Patriots. The game against Tampa, he was pretty good. He was okay. He was average. And the game for Cincinnati, he played 1 horrible half and 1 okay half. So out of 3 games, he played 5 good quarters, you would say, out of 12. Look, I like Quinn for a 7th round pick. He is, is fine, very good for being a 7th round pick. But let's not rewrite history and make Quinn Ewers had was 1983 Marino here either. It wasn't that good. So last year's draft, they traded away all those picks. Jonah was horrible. Grant was just a guy. And Ollie Gordon was good on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1, I guess. That's pretty much last year's draft in a nutshell. Let's go to 2024. Chop Robinson, good rookie year, stunk this past year. Patrick Paul looks like a solid pick. I'm not going to knock that. Jalen Wright, second half of this year, he came on, so it looks like he started to figure it out. Okay. Then he got Muhammad Kamara, got no future. Patrick McMorris, I don't even think he's on a team anymore, but if he is, he's got no future. And then he got the 2 Washingtons. Malik Washington, again, some players just overhype a little. He's a good kick returner and a solid 4th receiver. He's not going to be a number 2. He's not going to be a number 3. He's a nice kick returner, though. Taj Washington really hadn't done anything yet. He was hurt this whole rookie year and all that stuff. So there's that. Let's go to 2023. Cam Smith out of the league. Then you got Achane. That's a home run pick. Gotta give him credit for the home run pick. But then again, this guy, he's just, when they traded for Hill, they traded for Chubb, and then with the suspension of the owner and the penalties, they lost so many picks. It's why are you trading away picks 122, 155, and 170? You need players, man. And Greer was just trading away picks like it didn't matter. Then he took Elijah Higgins, which you might be saying, what? That's right. Elijah Higgins, tight end out of Stanford. Who cares? Well, here's why it was such a blunder. Elijah Higgins, tight end. He was a wide receiver. They're going to move to tight end out of Stanford. They got him round 6 or something. They had him all camp, played well in camp. Then one of the final cuts, they cut Elijah Higgins. You're probably okay, so what's the big deal? In the past 4 years, there is not one player in the NFL who had more waiver claims put on them than Elijah Higgins. So Greer, give him credit, finding a talent, let's take him. Then the idiot cuts him, and every team in the league was like, we were dying to get this guy. Had more waiver claims put on him than any player in the league since 2023. Think about that. That means everyone wanted this guy. Chris Greer screwed that up. Then they took Ryan Hayes. He's a nothing. 2022, this is the coup de grace. Channing Tindall stinks. Eric Izakama, never healthy. Skylar Thompson stinks on toast. and Cameron Good, who's like a borderline NFL linebacker, second string, third string, special teams guy. Literally, John Eric Sullivan walking into this job could throw, and once again, if you have little kids in the car or something, earmuffs, John Eric Sullivan could throw a fucking dart at a list of names of players on night 1, 2, and 3 of the draft, and he won't do worse than Chris Grier. He could literally put no thought into the draft process, and he will do better than Chris Grier. That is why I have hope that the Miami Dolphins might turn this thing around somewhat quicker than normal, somewhat quicker than what some fans think. Okay, it won't be overnight. It's going to take time. They're going to stink in 2026. I think we all get that. The schedule's brutal. You got the AFC West, you got the NFC North, you got twice with the Bills, twice with and then they play at San Fran, Cincinnati at home will kick their ass this year. Like, the schedule's brutal. And it's going to be a rough year. But I think there is a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, because with the worst GM in the entire NFL out the door, if John Eric Sullivan just hits 40% of his picks, is just 50% of his picks, the Dolphins will improve. Literally, the bar is set so low that John Eric Sullivan really can't screw this up. And if he makes us Green Bay of the South, where we hit on picks at the level that the Packers have since 2022, we're going to be one of the envies of the league in the next 4 to 5 years. But he don't even need to do that. He's just got to be better than the guy he's replacing, honestly. And Chris Grier was by far the worst GM in the entire NFL, at least since 2022. You'll probably say even heading back longer, but I'm not going to do the whole Chris Grier obituary. But yeah, I mean, I just think, again, I'm not out here selling false hope, saying Hafley's going to be great or John Eric Sullivan's going to be great. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's the thing. Nobody knows. And anyone who tells you they knows is lying to you. I'm saying I don't know, but I'm saying look at what the Packers have done since 2022 when it comes to guys they've drafted and starts number 1. And then got Miami dead last with like a 400 margin in between. It's like, I want to be just like them. And we hired the people at the top. So it gives me hope. That doesn't mean it will work out, because we've had hope before. And it's blown up in our face with Joe Philbin, Tony Sperano, Brian Flores, Adam Gase, Mike. We've had hope. But I think this time, with a new front office there, with new people making the picks, not, Grier and Mike Tannenbaum, I think there's reason for real hope. But we'll see. We don't know. We'll see. But, man, you look at those numbers, it is eye-opening how good Green Bay's been and how bad Miami's been. That's why I had that show yesterday. Joe Rose, he spoke about it this morning, 560. He goes, I don't know what some of you fans and some of you reporters are complaining about with this staff. It's like, it ain't bad. That's Joe Rose saying it. It's not me saying it. Then I saw, who's the other guy who said it? Someone else said it. I forgot. Someone else kind of said the same thing. But it's like, because, I know social media is very toxic. Extremely toxic. Some platforms more toxic than others. I get it. But you go on there, it's like every move. Oh, here's another Packer. We must stink. It's like every move you're getting crapped on. It's just, I don't know. And I see someone in here in the stat. Green Bay lost their last 5 games, including the playoff game. Say that again out loud. They were in a playoff game, and they had 1 million injuries. I mean, it's like, folks, you're nitpicking stuff. We don't make the playoffs. We've been one of the worst teams. We're like the Jets in Cleveland. We're like the past 20-something years, we're like one of the worst teams in the league. And you guys are like saying, well, the Packers, we're not. Who wants them? I want a team that's consistently in the playoffs, a team that consistently, not every year, but wins the NFC North most years. Like, yeah, I want to be more like them. I'm not saying every year is going to be great, and I'm not saying they're going to win playoff games every year, but they're at least relevant and they're in the thick of it. And why? Because they draft well. And we hired a guy who's been with the Packers since 2003. So if you want to nitpick it and be miserable, that's on you. Now I have a little bit of hope going into this. We'll see. I mean, and I know this year's going to be bad. They're going to win like 5 games this year. Look, this is another classic comment. If the Dolphins start losing all these I guess, YouTube channels will turn in the most vicious manner. First off, it ain't going to be vicious. Second off, yeah. What? They haven't played a game yet. So I'm not going to turn on people that haven't played a game yet. But I know 2026 is going to be bad. But in 2027, so I'm giving them one honeymoon year. I can't speak for every channel out there. I'm giving them a honeymoon year. But in 2027, if they only win 5 games, yeah, I'm going to turn on them. You know why? When they play good, you say nice things. When you play bad, you say bad things. That's what normal people do. Now, Sea Devil, you might not be normal. You might make up your mind once and never change it, no matter how much the results change. You might be one of them. And there's a lot of them in this world these days, especially when it comes to politics. You say, I made up my mind. I'm never going to change it. Well, that's good. Most normal people, though, don't think that way. Most normal people look at the results, then they comment. 2020, the first 2 years, I thought Mike McDaniel was okay. Oh, he's an okay coach. You know, I thought he was pretty good. And this is a typical response. Well, if they go winless. No, I'm not going to be okay if they go winless, but I don't expect them to go winless. You are the lowest common denominator of a fan. Really. You just go to the extreme on one side, and it's a total straw man argument. I'm done with you. It's like just stupid comments. Just dumb, non-thought, knuckle-dragging, eating your boogers type comments there from fans who just don't get it. It's like, you want to just crap all over anything. The guy's been on the job for 3 weeks. He hasn't even hired his whole staff. You got to give him a chance. And yeah, in a year or two, if it's really bad, well, we'll say really bad things about him. I didn't always say really bad things about Mike McDaniel, but as the years went on, it got worse. Why? Because the results never changed. And that's what normal people do. They look at the results, then you comment. Okay? You look at the results. Not that difficult of a concept. If I wake up in the morning and I see rain outside, I'm going to take an umbrella. Why? It's raining. If I wake up in the morning and it's clouds and no rain, I'm not going to hold an umbrella because that makes no sense. You look at the results of what's going on outside and you make a decision how you're going to go. It's like, wow, some fans, you're either overly positive or overly negative, and you don't want to give anybody any time to do anything. You just want to come with a conclusion. Oh, they hired him 10 days later. He sucks. Huh? Based on what? Based on what? We'll see. That's all I'm saying is we'll see. But looking at what we had and what we have now, I think there's a chance this might work out in the long run. Again, it's not going to happen overnight. 2 to 3 years, things might improve. And I think we're going to be at a healthier spot in 2 to 3 years. We got to work off these bad contracts with Tua. We got to get, Chubb off the books. We got to get some of these guys off the books with these huge contracts. Hill, we got to get rid of him. Going to have to eat a lot of dead money. And that's going to take time. Okay? That's why this job wasn't attractive. That's why John Harbaugh wanted nothing to do with this job. This is why other people didn't even meet for this job. This is why Mike McCarthy refused to interview for this job. Because it's a bad job. It's going to take time. But you see the seeds they're planting now. It's like, okay, this might work. Not saying it will. It might work. But whatever. Fans can fan any way they want, I guess. And thanks for watching and for the support. You want to put money in my pocket. I'm not going to yell at you for that. But all right, that's all for today's show. Check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com. We did a total redesign of the website. Looks new, looks fresh. I think I made it easier for the readers to find what they want. DolphinsTalk.com, total redesign. Sign up for Dolphins Talk Extra. We got Super Bowl squares going. Relatively cheap. We're not trying to, it's not a high money thing here. I think $10 gets you 5 squares. But you got to be a Dolphins Talk Extra subscriber. So go to patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. $5 to sign up. And once you're signed up, you can buy your Super Bowl squares. Once they're filled, they're filled. So if you're, on the fence about it, sign up now. Don't wait. You'll get the invite. And as soon as you sign up, you're in. Then you can sign up for the Super Bowl boards. We got extra podcasts. I did a show yesterday. I did a show today. One about the Royal Rumble yesterday, and the one today talking about the upcoming draft. So check that one out. And also, we have access to a private message board as well. So patreon.com/DolphinsTalk. Everyone, have a great rest of your. Oh, follow us on social media. Man, this guy in the chat is really blowing up here. Okay, take care of that. Everyone, Please make sure you follow us on social media on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, Twitter, Blue Sky at Dolphins Talk. And have a great rest of your night. We'll talk to you again after a while. And when you're on the road, please don't forget, and we must put an end to highway profanity.